Hi guys! I've missed you and it feels kind of weird not sharing my recipes with you week to week. But don't worry, we're working on season 2 and we're so excited to bring that to you soon. But for today, I wanted to do something a little bit different. We've been wanting to make this video for some time now as a way for us to reflect on season 1, as well as share some of the lessons we learned from our experience. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. When we first started, we didn't know what we were doing. We kind of just walked into it blindly and hoped for the best. There are some things we did right and other things we definitely did wrong or could improve upon. So looking back, season 1 was a training experience for us. So here are the 10 lessons we learned from filming season 1. Lesson 1, be genuine. Honestly, when I look back at some of our older episodes, I kind of cringe inside. I can barely watch it. We were filming out of my mother-in-law's kitchen and I just didn't feel comfortable because it wasn't my kitchen and we weren't using any of my stuff because it was all packed away in moving boxes. Plus it was our first few episodes. I think I was so concerned about sounding professional or making sure that my directions were thorough and clear that I didn't let my whole personality shine. Around episode 10, that's when we moved into our new place, and that's when I let my guard down and I was able to relax a little bit. I didn't care so much about making mistakes, stuttering over my words, sounding really smart, or even burning something on camera. Because, I'm a human too, and I make mistakes and no one's perfect, so I was able to kind of accept that and just let go. So for those of you who are out there maybe thinking about starting your own cooking show, just try to be yourself. Don't try to imitate anyone else, because if you're not completely genuine in who you are, your audience will be able to tell. Lesson 2, find your signature style. The cool thing about having a cooking show online is that we're able to make it completely our style and basically do whatever we want. We soon found out that our signature style included my hand-drawn illustrations and stop motion. And that's what you see in the beginning of our videos for our title and ingredients board. I think it was Joe's idea to start doing this. We did this first in our Kickstarter video and then we translated it into our actual cooking videos. And it just kind of stuck. We also like to include storytelling, and so we do that in the beginning of the videos to kind of set up the recipe and what the video is going to be about. But then we also like to add bonus clips in between the cooking segments, and I think that acts as little breaks. And I think that allows us to make it something that's beyond just a cooking show. But sometimes Joe and I ask ourselves, why do we put ourselves through this torture of adding all this extra footage and doing the stop motion when it's just a few seconds on screen, but it takes us so long to do? But the answer is that if you really want to stand out and be set apart, then you really do have to think outside the box and play on your strengths. And I think that you have to give your excellence no matter what you do. And if you don't push yourself, then who will? Lesson 3, invest in the tools you need to do the job right. We are a pretty low budget production compared to other YouTubers out there. These days, filming cooking shows is no joke. It's pretty hardcore and people are serious about it. But we had limited resources and we tried our best to use what we had. We already had one SLR camera, that was the Canon 60D. But then we realized we needed to invest in a second camera so that we can capture multiple angles. So that's why we did a Kickstarter project, and thanks to a successful campaign, we were able to purchase the equipment we needed. If you want to check out our original Kickstarter project, then we'll leave the link for you down below. First, we bought our second camera, the Canon 70D, and that camera is really useful because it has automatic focusing, so that allows Joe to be able to move around freely without having to stop to readjust and focus the camera manually. We also invested in a basic light kit, and that allows us to film as we're filming in natural daylight, even on cloudy, dark, or gloomy days. Our last purchases was this lapel mic and an audio recorder, because we realized that when we were just filming with this other microphone we had, which was just this external one that we attached to the camera, that my voice was coming out a little bit muffled and unclear. But this lapel microphone allows my voice to come out more crisp, and I think that improves the quality of our videos. Lesson 4, don't try to hit a home run every time. This is Joe's tailor-made bit of advice to me personally, because he would see me so frazzled, ready to rip my hair out when I was trying to come up with recipes to shoot. I think it's because I just take my job seriously and I care deeply about each individual recipe I attach my name to. I spent way too much time and energy in season 1 trying to come up with a recipe, testing them, and then even scratching them because I didn't consider them good enough. So I think for season 2, I'm gonna chill out a little bit and just know that you can't please everybody. Lesson number 5, go with your gut. I'm still learning to do this, but if you feel like you really want to do something and it's just tugging at you, then just do it and don't be afraid to be bold or different. When I first had the idea to make spaghetti squash with easy meat sauce as one of our videos, Joe was skeptical at first. He said that since it was so unique sounding that a lot of people probably wouldn't be intentionally searching for it. I just went with my gut and I did it. And guess what? Now it's our highest watched video. See? And I'm not telling you this story to make Joe out to be the bad guy, because there are plenty of times where he actually helped me stick to my gut. Originally, when we started the show, we went a little against the grain because most videos on YouTube are about 5 minutes in length, but our show is about 10 to 15 minutes long. And when we first started, we did get some constructive criticism from some of our family members and close friends. They were trying to be helpful and help us to be more mainstream so that we would get more views. They said, you know, maybe we should shorten our videos because that's what the average YouTube video is like and not everyone has time to watch long videos. But I really felt like that was the proper amount of time needed to share the recipe thoroughly and clearly, and also to include a story as well as allow my personality to come through. But truth be told, after we got some of that feedback, I started to shake like a leaf in the wind. And Joe was like, no, just stick to your guns, because if you feel convicted about that, then you obviously thought about it carefully and you know what you want to do and you have a reason behind it. And I was like, you know what? I guess you're right. And I don't regret it, because those who do watch our videos and enjoy it, they say that they appreciate all the detail of the story and everything else, and they're glad that my directions are so clear and easy to follow along with. Lesson 6, make a schedule and stick to it. I would say that one of the biggest mistakes we made through filming season 1 was constantly feeling like a hamster on a wheel. We felt like we were just running in circles and not getting anywhere. All we were doing was trying our best to catch up and hold on. It wasn't until the middle of the season where Joe finally decided that we're going to use a shared online calendar, and this helped us out a lot, but in a way it was almost too late at this point. Our schedule ended up being every week prepare for the video, which could include just a couple of days of recipe testing and grocery shopping. And then we have to film the video, and that takes an entire day. And then about 3 to 4 days of editing the video. But what happened was that since we were trying to produce a new episode every week, we'd have to be working on one episode while finishing up the previous episode, and then also working on moving on to the next episode. We just felt so crazy, and I started to lose the joy of the creative process to begin with. Now for season 2, we have kind of discussed it to come up with a new system, and we're not sure if it's gonna definitely work. We'll let you know by the end of season 2 how we did and if it worked. And if it worked well, then we'll share that with you too. Lesson 7, be consistent and committed. For YouTubers, it's imperative to be consistent and keep coming out with new content. Otherwise, your audience will lose interest and maybe even unsubscribe or leave. We definitely did not do a good job with this. I mean, we tried to stick to a date every week, but it didn't necessarily happen. We ended up posting videos sporadically, and I don't think our viewers even knew when to expect a new video. But hopefully by sticking to our calendar and implementing this new system for season 2, things will go a lot more smoothly. You also have to be committed to your craft and keep on going, regardless of how you're feeling. There are many times where I was just in a bad mood. I was really tongue-tied, I was tired, or I just wasn't feeling it, but you know, you still have to just snap out of it and get yourself in front of the camera and push past the pain. You just have to keep going and commit to yourself that the show must go on. Lesson 8, producing a cooking show costs more than you think. Although I tend to cook with affordable ingredients, making this show did get pricey. At first I was kind of naive and I thought, oh, it's not gonna cost that much because we have to eat anyways, right? So we're probably just gonna be filming what we eat for dinner. No, that's not it. I have to first develop a recipe, and then I have to go buy a batch of ingredients so I could test it. But then sometimes it doesn't work out, so then you have to buy it again, and then you have to buy it a third time just to film it. So it ends up being so much pricier than you think. And there's only been a few times where it was one and done, where I just bought it once, tested it once, and it was good to go, and then I just have to buy it a second time. Those times are great, but there have been way too many times where I had to test a recipe like 3 or 4 times. And more specifically for our case, we're currently working on our season 1 e-cookbook, which meant that we had to buy the ingredients all over again just to do the photographs for it. So it does take a lot more than we expected when we originally began. So I think for season 2, I'm just gonna have to be more strict about our budget and just try to stay within the realms of that. Lesson 9, be humble and willing to compromise. This is more specifically a lesson that we learned for us in our case because, as you know, we're a husband and wife team, and working with your spouse is not really easy. You have to be kind of more mindful and watch your tongue and your attitude, and you have to treat your partner, in this case our spouse, like a professional. I remember several moments where Joe made me so mad right before we were supposed to film, and I'm like, heck no, I'm not going on camera now. And then he had to kind of like loosen me up by like turning on music and making us do a dance party so that we could just forget it. And then there are other times where I made him so mad or hurt because it was almost like I didn't trust him and his skills, because I was almost like bossing him around. He was just kind of like, you have to trust me and let me do it my way. And in the end, maybe the footage isn't exactly what I envision in my head, but it's still good, and it's nice to see it from his point of view or from his thought process. Thankfully, over time, we really learned how to work with each other. And you know what? It took us about 19 episodes to get it down. Seriously, it was like right before we finished season 1. And I don't know why it took that long. In the beginning, when I would look back at the footage, I'm like, oh, you didn't catch that one scene. And Joe would be like, well, you moved too fast. And I didn't have time to adjust the camera. So after that, I started to finally listen. And now, even though it kind of interrupts my flow, I actually stop when I know that it's gonna be a different scene. And then I kind of freeze like a statue and I wait for Joe to readjust his camera. And by us doing that, I think that we learned to work a lot smoother, and I think the quality of the videos have come out better because of it. Lesson 10, expect the unexpected. Life doesn't always go exactly as you plan, right? So you just have to be ready for things that might come your way that you didn't plan on. So for instance, we live in a complex, so on Thursdays we know that the lawnmower guy is out just mowing all the grass in the whole property. But then we were like, okay, then we're gonna switch and film on a random Friday. But then it was lawn mowing day on Friday too. So we're like, what the heck? Does he just mow the lawn every day? So it would pick up the sound of the lawn mowing into the audio. But at first it would frustrate us, and we're like, you know what? You just gotta let it be. And sometimes we just work it in as a joke in our videos, and we'll be like, oh, lawnmower guy's there again. And you just gotta go and roll with the punches. There was also another time we were in the midst of a heat wave. I mean, it was so hot, and our air condition decided to just completely break on us. The lights were on me. I was sweating to the oldies. I was like going outside, taking a break every 5 minutes and like blotting my face with all these blotting papers. And I was so miserable. But at the end of the day, when we look back at our footage, I don't know if it was through the magic of editing or what, but it looks fine. I actually don't even remember which episode it was where it was that hot. So you just gotta keep going no matter what, and the show must go on. Bonus! Don't forget to have fun. That might sound cliche, but it is so true when it comes to making videos. I would say that making videos is just like any other job. You have to take it seriously, you have to be committed, you have to try your best and push yourselves creatively, but you have to let go and also have fun. Because if you don't have fun, then what's the point? Joe and I really enjoy doing it despite, the little tips and arguments and things that go wrong. Because at the end of the day, we get to work with each other, we get to produce something creatively that was never out there in the world before, and we get to put a bit of ourselves out into the universe. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this, that you learned something new, because we learned a lot through season 1, and so I hope you enjoyed watching it. And if you did, remember to push like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in season 2. See you next time. Bye.